The Trump effect can also be seen on the other side of the Pacific. In Japan, the island nation has a lot on its plate. The geopolitical landscape is shifting. Donald Trump is rethinking America's security pacts. Plus, regional tensions are soaring thanks to players like China and North Korea. So Japan is stepping up. The island nation is changing its defense posture. It is rethinking its security policy. It is building stronger weapon systems. And it is planning to deploy long-range missiles which could hit targets in North Korea and China. But will this work? Can this changing stance scare enemies and sway the US to maintain closeness with Tokyo? Our next report tells you.
Japan operates in a tough neighborhood. There are increasingly hostile nuclear powers there. China, Russia and North Korea. In recent months, tensions have been soaring in the region amid confrontations with China in the disputed East China Sea. And now, there's another growing threat, not from Japan's enemies, but from an ally who has traditionally been close to Tokyo. We're talking about the United States. On March 6th, US President Donald Trump took a dig at Japan. He complained that the security deal between the two nations was non-reciprocal.
You know, with Japan, we have a deal, which is a very interesting one. And I love Japan. We have a great relationship with Japan. But we have an interesting deal with Japan that we have to protect them, but they don't have to protect us. Do you know that? That's the way the deal reads. We have to protect Japan. And by the way, they make a fortune with us economically. There's another case. But we have to protect Japan. But under no circumstances do they have to protect us. I actually ask, who makes these deals?
The deal he's talking about was signed in 1951 when Japan was still occupied by US forces. And Japan's ability to take military action is restricted by its constitution. This pacifist bit was effectively imposed on Tokyo by Washington after the Second World War. But now, the US is nudging Japan to increase its military capacity. So, in light of the shifting geopolitical landscape and the continuing regional tensions, the island nation is rethinking its security policy. Japan is planning to deploy long-range missiles. The missiles have a range of about 1,000 kilometers, so they would be capable of hitting targets in North Korea and China, mostly in their coastal regions. The deployment is expected to commence around this time next year on the southern Japanese island of Kyushu. This could bolster defenses of the Okinawa island chain, which remains strategically important to Japan due to its proximity to Taiwan. 2 ground self-defense forces or GSDF bases are being considered for the new missiles. This will be a major upgrade for the current weapon system in the region. And this is only one part of the gradual increase of Japan's military capacity. Experts believe that in the coming time, Japan may seek to maximize its nuclear power as well and spark a debate as to whether to acquire nuclear weapons. After all, the threat from China and North Korea is mounting. The two countries are bolstering their military capabilities, and Japan feels that it can no longer rely on the US for military support, considering Trump's shifting stance towards its allies. In fact, taking proactive measures to boost its missile systems might strengthen US-Japan ties. So, will Japan's trick actually work? Can Tokyo's changing defense stance keep enemies at bay and sway Washington to bolster its friendship with the island nation? It won't be long before we know.
Firstpost brings you the Ideas Pod at the Raisina Dialogue 2025, the largest gathering of global policymakers, thought leaders, and innovators, now on the fastest-growing international news platform. Big ideas, big debates, big impact. Only at the Ideas Pod.
Raisina Hill.
Firstpost gives you front-row access to the conversations that matter most. The Ideas Pod. Raisina Dialogue 2025 on Firstpost. From March 17th to March 19th.